was in the orphanage. You had to do what you were told, not what you wanted to do. And if someone does something wrong and didn't own up, everybody was punished. Yeah. One Sunday we went for a walk. Lovely weather. Somebody was doing big boulders. The place we were going. And somebody pushed one down. And the other sat in the field. And sister said, "Who done it?" Nobody. Punished. Home. It's one for all, an awful one, if you know what I mean. No, the first play was near Austrian border. Oh, it was lovely in there. And in the summer, you used to go pick strawberries, blueberries in the woods, you know, for the next good schooling. Yeah, so you had to do. There was only one girl there, and she got killed by lightning. There was a thunder and lightning, and there was a great big blue ball jumping outside the doors. You know, you could see the lightning, like, you know, the lightning, correct, whatever it was. Yeah, it was a great big call. Oi, pack it up! My auntie, my mother, sister, I don't remember my mother at all. She was when I was 2 or something like that. Oh yeah, I knew of him, but never got in touch. Butler. D-A-C-L-A-D. Well, I made it 7, he was 14 when I was 9. Apparently he went to Germany in 1940 and nobody heard from him since. They tried to find anything after the war. My auntie didn't find anything. My sister Vera, apparently she was adopted by an aunt. That's all I know. When I was 9-year-old. I've seen my sister before. When I came out of the army, I've seen her then. Because after she was working for this gardener. And he's supposed to take her to America. And he didn't, so I don't know what happened then. I was told she died. I went to Czechoslovakia for school. When I was 16, I went to see a man. And I left him before I was 18. Left him in October 1939. Volunteered for the army. I was just 18. In 1940, they went to look Agde. Now it's a holiday camp now. And it's the south of France. And we used to go just maneuvers about. And in 39, we went up front on the front line. Look, for 6 years with the same people, same officers, day in, day out. If a commanding officer of the company go play cards with you in the evenings, so what can you do? Colonel, what a lovely man. And so you always skid me when I go playing, when you used to say. When I went on holiday, I went to borrow the money from him. And he said, I'll give it to you when I go to the office. I said, no, too late. I'm boss going at 8. So I had to go to the cabin. He said, why don't you wait? I said, you were too late for me. I enjoyed the 6 years in the army. Yeah, it was all right. They look after you in the army. Started in 39. The bomber was in 41 and 42. to the front line in 1940. They took us on a train, and that's it. You get off and you start marching. Oh yeah, you had plenty of training. There's nobody to fight. And we got up there, and this is the gospel too. There was a German on a motorbike, he said, go home, no fighting. And I was in the middle, marching back, around the front line. There's an aeroplane full of soldiers, and they were waving to us. It's a gospel truth. It's not very pleasant, because you get so mixed up with the others. You know, you finished up in that company, and on the train, it was so hot. And you pull up in the station, and the officer said, "Who anybody gets the water, I kill him." And that's what you got. And a lot of soldiers got drunk, because all the bars were full of wine and all everything he wanted. Nobody to sell it to, you know, so people got in the cellar. One place, I remember when we got the place was Gien, G-I-E-N. And when we got off the train, there were 60 planes, you could count them one by one. And all of a sudden, they had the machine gun ready. And somebody, don't shoot there, I was here, they were my flipping foot. They weren't that ass at all. The Italians don't do it for me. I went back to Czechoslovakia. They put me in the military school, and we went to collect some goods for the school. And they said, forget it, you demob tomorrow. So they took us back to the headquarters. And when we got there, I shouldn't have been demob at all, but he wouldn't take his signature back. General Svoboda is his name, he wouldn't take it back. So where you want to go? I said, well, I volunteer in France, take you back. That was the agreement when I volunteered. On a lorry back to Paris. Let's see if I can see anybody who was with me in the army, who moved to France. They were from all over the place, you know, from Brazil, all over the place they came in. Went to the consulate, they pay you off, and that was it. Just went up to find somewhere to sleep, and that's it. Well, I come in 42, and the Home Office had to send me, you don't need to, you can stay till you do something, they'll chuck you out. Not a hotel that you can go 3 or more, just one room. You had one wardrobe, a bed, and a shuttle to cook a meal on it, you know. Alcohol. You got coupon to buy alcohol, so you went, I applied for a visa in the British Embassy. You apply for it. They ask you what you want to do. You want it permanent for 3 months, 6 months. I said I want permanent. Well, they put it down. And the people used to go there for a visa. Never spoke a word of English, never been to England. They got a visa right away. Big-handers, you know. So after a year and a half, I had a letter from him, from the embassy. My visa arrived. And your passport and all that, so I got all that, got on there, and you're lucky, go happy. Couldn't find it. It disappeared. The letter disappeared. Flog it to somebody. At last, the woman said, I put it through. And I had it in March 1942. No, they got different people about them. Everybody was happy. No, it was a war. You didn't see any crime or stealing. You could leave your bike on the road just till the next morning. I met her in a pub in Paddington, talking in 1942. I didn't meet that fellow. I don't know who he was. I was with my mate, a Frenchman. And a fellow said, he said to him, he said, you like that girl? He said, you like this one, and that's it. That's how I met my wife. Celia, Irish. Near Enniskillen, actually. Towards the Southern Ireland. And she had a sister and a brother. Mom, no, she was a waitress. And she had to stop in 1962. No, she had ulcer and anemia. And my mother died early as well. I went to the very famous town hall in Victoria, what they call it. I forgot it. So I got married, and the couple my wife knew, they took us to a dinner somewhere in London, the region street, I don't remember. I wasn't drunk either. We had 5 pence between me and my wife and I got married. Just for the bus fare from Piccadilly to Victoria. And that's it. That was the wedding. No, nothing special. Since 1956. So we were in the basement first, because the couple over there, his wife wasn't well. So they moved to this flat, and when they left, they moved up. With the Czech Refugee Trust Fund, they were all right. The rent was £3, I think, a week. When the new lot took over, they put it up about £10, I think, or something like that. They carry on till they come to 48, and all of a sudden, they put it up to 86. Now, 86 a week. It's nothing. You got this, you got bedroom, you got a bathroom, toilet, and a kitchen. Well, I got to pay the rent from my pension. So what's left over, it's not enough to live on. He said, do I want anything in the shop? In the meantime, I got a friend around the corner, so I asked her to give me the shopping, you know. No, I'll manage. The film star, man. Working for a firm in Twickenham, Wally's car hire, to the studios mostly. Twickenham television, Granadas, the latest Granadas, and also big Austin one, the heavy one. No power steering, you had to struggle to move, you had to pull it. Stepped on Son, he used to drive the Son. Barbara Windsor, up in Barbara Windsor at the studios, took her to, she used to live in Stedmont, and when I took her home, the box she was carrying, all the hats, you know, with her. She was very nice. I picked her up once in Kent. She was filming a Christmas piece, you know, and to the pub at half a pint with her. Benny Hill, he used to live in Exhibition Road in Kensington. Yeah, again, I had her from Richmond Hotel to the studios. They sit on the front, they didn't want to sit in the back. Very pleasant man. They were all pleasant, you know. Cilla Black signed my book, but was a terrible singer. Lulu, that's it, she didn't. I'm a bit posh. The old man started it, and then he took it to his son. After I retired, he never phoned once. After 24 years, never phoned once. Didn't have a holiday since my wife died. It's a long time ago, 86. I've been on the Comet, you know, the one they had, the first four-engine one, the Comet one. London Airport to Edinburgh. It was low, and I hit my head twice. Hit my head when I got on it, and then I get up. Once I went to Glasgow Airport. Man booked it all, paid for it all, never turned up. Yeah, I went to Preston on holiday. The government says, we must stay a week. You go back in a week time. I stayed 7 days. 7 days they rained like bucket up all day, every day. The last day the sun was burning. And I got really burning with the sun on the last day. Sweetie was the female one, and Nicky was the male one. They're lovely, especially the last one. He come in, skin and bone. You could pick him up one by one, the bone from the back, and he had a mug of some fish. He didn't wait for it to be cooked. He grabbed it, eat it all. And next door, number one in St. Stephen's Garden, they had a pear tree. And then he was climbing right to the very top. And then he was happy to jump in a bit. He died old age. The best one I like was Monty. He had very old, but the pear, he was so loud. You know. And Nicky was waiting for me when I come home. He was behind the door. How did you know it was me who come in? I don't know. And the nurse or the doctors, or the English one, Marilyn, she's nice. She's been in for 5 years. And the other was the Chinese. She knows what she's doing, but so quick. She's doing it, it's finished, you know. But she's doing very good English. She said, I learned all about England, she said. Yeah, give me flu jab, she gave me the flu jab. And I felt the needle going in with the others, you don't feel anything, you know. No, you've got two nurses, there's one's the English one, and it's Miss Lee, and the other one is Marilyn. And she's been there 25 years. No, the first, he was from Pakistan, the first man, he done 2 weeks. After the second was from India, he done 2 weeks. And after she was from Ghana. She had to leave because she expected a baby. And after he was from Ethiopia, she was there. She called me, good morning. Since I put the apron on, I was telling her, are you ready? You know, stay here. I said, I'm not ready yet. I'll let you know. So I got in the bath, I'm ready. They come, wash my back with my hand, and then I wash the lot, dry me up, and that's it. I'm off. Wipe the bathroom, never clean the bathroom. No, she had ulcer and anemia. No, I had to look after myself when she went to hospital. West Mid, and I lost it. Denture, they said they didn't, and I said you did. But she went for the X-ray, and it gas, you know. And they took it away. The woman, I said, you lost it. She didn't. In the end, they said, decided that they did lost it, the denture. It was too late then.
My name is Parminder Tamana, locally known as Mr. T. And I'm very proud to say that I run my local delicatessen here for the last 25 years. And I have actually known Jack since that time. He's been an absolute amazing man. I have seen him grow older gracefully. He's been an excellent member of the local community and always in a very happy mood, always in a mood to joke, and very friendly and very helpful to a lot of older people who are older than him. Knowing Jack and his disability now, funny enough, he's up to now he's been looking after himself. He's always done his own shopping. You see him walking around slowly from one shop to another shop, saying hello to everyone else, and he still manages to come out, which I'm quite surprised with his disability and his age. And I don't think you can keep him indoors. He will always be out, and he will love to meet people wherever he goes.
The 15 were all friendly. Next door were friendly. Across the road they were friendly, you know. They used to come in the garden And Darren used to talk, you know. But now they just couldn't care less. Now, there's a nice couple in number 1 since they was gone. They're on holiday at the moment. They're in Spain. They do the shopping for me when I'm on. Sonia and David. She is from Yugoslavia, the ancient Yugoslavia, before they split it up. From Slovenia she is. I'm not call it prejudice. I got a teacher from Jamaica next door. Lovely child, lovely man. I said, how do you find it prejudice? He said, oh yes. He's got a white girlfriend. She's married with 3 kids. He's got 3 kids. She is in England, somewhere, I don't know where. The woman downstairs, I don't know, seen her, I don't know her name. The one on the ground floor, it's Emma, she is bisexual, man and a woman. Her downstairs, Dominic, if you want any shopping, just tell me, she never did. Next door, I don't know anybody there. I know the owner. Next door to this Olga, I know her, I don't see her much. Next one is 321. It's Terry and his father John, he's a taxi driver. And she works at a charity shop. And on the ground floor, in the basement is Joni, she talks. Next one is a young boy who lost his mom and dad. They were lovely, lovely people. And next house is Terry and Marie. Mrs. bought in a block of flats. She's Irish. It's only by. I was coming home with my shopping and I was able to walk. And somebody came out and said, I carried and been doing it ever since, you see. And if I'm in the shopping, she does it. And she don't want any payment for it. She gets offended if I want to give her money, you know, but I don't want it. I don't know anybody across the road. And now and then, I'm minding my own business. I do. I'm not. Look, say you to divorce. You know, like say, I'm not going to ask you why did you divorce. That has nothing to do with me. Like around the corner, the young boy who stood in them, and he said to me, oh, she's back. I know nothing about if she's back or not, you know. No, it's too much misery done if people not minding their own business. That's what I think.
Well, I think it's fair to say that at Age Concern we see lots of Jacks and female Jacks as well. We see people on a daily basis who are coming into our services or who have not yet accessed our services who could benefit from them. All sorts of reasons behind that, but largely due to being isolated, not being able to get out. Transport links are not as good as they used to be. As I say, neighbours are not necessarily taking an interest, family have moved away. And I think organisations like ourselves, locally based charities who are networked into local community services, provide a safe place. We provide a refuge, but we're also providing an opportunity to network those individuals into other places of care and support, friendship as well. There are around 35,000 people in the county of Lancashire who are living in what we call chronic loneliness and isolation. And that means they haven't seen or spoken to a person for many weeks, possibly even months. And you could add to that the growing number of people living with dementia. That impacts tremendously on carers, family members, and that of itself, looking after somebody who's got dementia, can lead and bring on loneliness and isolation in the caring community as well. Somebody going through dementia, what often happens is that they can recall their ancient history more easily than they can their modern history. So you can still have times an interesting conversation that is meaningful if you're talking about the past, because those are the memory banks that they will be more easily able to tap into. And yes, they may not be able to recognise yourself and remember you, but they might well be able to remember what it was like growing up and be able to still tell you something that's of interest. I think Jack was a truly interesting gentleman. He'd had an interesting life, and he's a library of knowledge, and he's a library of fun stories. He's still got an awful lot to give back. He just needs the outlet to be able to do that. But I think what we saw was some of the challenges of Jack living just day to day and looking after himself. For example, his accessibility to get in and out of his own home. And certainly we see people who are struggling with that all the time. Lack of public transport means that people can't easily get around. These are all things that impinge and they prevent one from being able to just get up and go and live life fluidly. Jack's not a one-off. There are lots and lots of Jacks throughout the length and breadth of the country. But I think the important thing is to take from Jack that he's still got lots to give. He can still contribute his life learning lessons to other people. He can still bring joy. He's a fun gentleman. He's got lots of interesting stories to give back. And despite the fact that he had been surrounded by people, here he is at the end of his life, finding himself completely, utterly lonely. It just says that, it doesn't matter somehow how you've lived your life, you can still end up in a different place. I think there's a tragedy there. We should all be aware of, that could happen to any one of us. I think the issue is here of recognising that it doesn't matter at what stage of life that you're in, you have got something valuable to contribute. I think we all have an interest in a connection, don't we, as a sort of a sense of who we are and where we've come from. And I think talking to the likes of Jack and so on and finding out about their life's history and so on, it resonates with us and we compare ourselves and we can reflect on their lives compared with our lives and so on. And I just think that there's just always something that you can get out of a conversation with another human being. And I think the concept of befriending remains important. They are the tail end of the war baby generation. My mother's 82. She was born 5 days before the Second World War broke out. When they had to face the lockdown, they were very stoic about it. And I'm sure that was drawing from their experiences of living through, sort of wartime and wartime austerity that followed. Then the world's changed when they come back out again. It's particularly challenging. And one of my mum's friends, she's been now waiting 2 years for a new hip, and she's deteriorated considerably in that time. So the problem is not going away, it's likely to get worse. And I think lessons learned from the pandemic are that we are going to need, as a community, to start looking out for each other a little bit more. I hope that we will have learned some good lessons from the pandemic in that regard. Everybody's got a story, and it doesn't matter how small or how incredulous that life has been. Everybody's got something to contribute back into the library of our life. But ageing is changing as well. I think new generations coming through will look at life differently. They'll perceive the ageing process differently. At the end of the day, our bodies will become frailer. That is the natural process. But I think a lot of it will be about our mental approach to how we live our lives. But I think there's an important message that we actually, all of us, every single one of us in our society and community, play a part in not only supporting ourselves to live life well, but looking out for our family and our friends and our neighbours. Don't forget the older people in your community. If you're distant family, you've been away for a long time, you haven't picked up the phone, pick up the phone and say hi. A conversation, however short, can mean all the difference. And I think, what we can take away from it is that if you connect with a local older person, chances are you're going to learn something interesting. You're probably going to have a very interesting and enjoyable conversation. And importantly, you're going to make two lives much better for having that conversation and that interaction. So we would say, please connect with local people, engage with local people, enable older people to still continue to contribute to life in your local communities.
I met Jack when I actually left work. I used to work in a film marketing company in London. I did that for 20 years. And at the time I'd left work, it was torrential rain in Richmond in London. And I was stood at the bus stop waiting for the bus, and I looked across the road and there was Jack. And when he walked, his posture was so extreme. He basically was doubled over, almost looking at his feet. His back was arched like this, and he'd been in that way for quite a number of years, maybe 12 years. And so he was shuffling his feet, moving incredibly slowly. He didn't have an umbrella, and the rain was just coming down and hitting him hard. Looking at this, I felt clearly very sorry for him. Left the bus stop, I had an umbrella, I walked over to him. I didn't say a word. I held the umbrella and I literally walked with him slowly all the way to his house, which I didn't know was about 500 yards from the bus stop. That in itself took about 20 minutes. We exchanged a glance at one another, no words at the door. He went inside. So that was my first meeting with Jack. And we became friends over time. Over a period of the next 6 months, I visited him pretty much every week, helped out with the cleaning slowly but surely, always considering him, always asking him if he was okay with me helping out. At the time I met Jack, one of the film campaigns I was working on was for Disney Pixar's movie Up. And just out of pure coincidence, anyone that has seen that film, if you have or if you haven't, the main character in that movie is a crotchety old man who lives on his own in this house, and he's lived there for a good part of his life. His wife had passed away years hence. He had no friends and family, and I would love to be able to show this animated sequence at the beginning of that film that basically shows his entire life. And it was just pure coincidence that I felt that Jack's life mirrored this story in Disney Pixar's Up. It's a great movie about a life lived to the full, but also dreams that aren't fulfilled, and also about letting life go and moving on, particularly in your older years.
Afternoon.
It was at this point in the film that I was going to film Jack walking from his house in Richmond to the post office to get his weekly pension. That journey, although it only was about 600 yards, would normally take him at least 25 minutes to half an hour. And so I was going to film him walking in real time and add voiceover, maybe some music and other pictures from his life to basically illustrate that journey in the film. And the day I turned up to film that footage with him, he came to the door and he wasn't particularly very well. I went the next day and he'd actually deteriorated a little more, so he had to go into hospital. Over the next 2 weeks, I went and visited Jack in hospital a number of times, and he was still the affable, humorous, crotchety old man I'd got to know and befriended over the past 2 years. But unfortunately, after 2 weeks, his health deteriorated and he did pass away peacefully in hospital. There was a young nurse by his side when he went. He did get to tell his story before he passed away, and I feel privileged and grateful that Jack allowed me into his life, that we became friends, and he trusted me enough to share and film his story for the rest of you to see here. I do hope this film is seen by as many people as possible, because I really feel that it highlights a big situation that we have in the UK and the rest of the world, where there are a lot of older people that don't have any friends or family or support and are living alone. And certainly post-COVID pandemic, I think the situation has become much worse.
What have you been up to this week?
Is it what?
What have you been doing this week?
Well, me, nothing. I don't know. You see, usually in church, I don't know what you're doing.